We are standing on the precipice of a defining moment for the Carolina Panthers franchise. The news coming out of Charlotte right now is not just noise, it is a siren blaring for every fan who cares about the future of this team. We are talking about ruthless financial decisions, potential trades that signal a complete philosophical shift, and a rumor involving a superstar that sounds too crazy to be true, yet here we are. The front office is active, the phones are burning up, and the roster you know today might look completely different by next week. But before we break down every single angle of this developing situation, I have one simple request. We are pushing hard to hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Join the movement, hit that subscribe button right now, and let's get to work.
Let's get straight to the business at hand, because the numbers we are seeing out of the Panthers front office are staggering. Sources indicate that the organization is currently evaluating a move that would free up exactly $10.5 million in salary cap space. In the NFL, $10 million is not just loose change. That is the difference between signing a premier edge rusher or sitting on your hands during free agency. The player in question is a key veteran, a name that has provided stability in a locker room that has desperately needed it. When you look at the structure of the roster, all signs point to a decision regarding Adam Thielen or a similarly compensated veteran leader. The front office, led by Dan Morgan, is crunching the analytics, looking at age versus production, and asking the hard question, does the on-field output justify the financial hit? From a pure business standpoint, clearing that cap space is a no-brainer. It gives the team flexibility to pursue younger, more explosive talent that fits the long-term timeline of Dave Canales' offense. However, and this is where I need you to listen closely, you cannot quantify leadership on a spreadsheet. You cannot put a price tag on having a professional in the room who knows how to prepare, how to practice, and how to execute on Sundays. If you cut this veteran to save $10 million, who is going to teach the young guys how to be professionals? We saw what happened when you drain the building of experience. You get chaos. You get a rudderless ship. While the accountant in the back room is screaming that $10.5 million is a massive saving, the coach on the sideline is terrified of losing his safety blanket. This is the classic struggle between the future and the present. The Panthers are trying to rebuild, yes, but you cannot rebuild on a foundation of rookies alone. You need guys who have been there. Yet the reality of the NFL is cold and heartless. If your production does not match your paycheck, you are gone. It doesn't matter what you did 2 years ago, it matters what you can do for me tomorrow. The Panthers are looking at that $10 million and seeing 3 potential defensive starters, or perhaps an upgrade on the offensive line. It is a gamble. If they cut him, they save the money, but they risk alienating the locker room and removing a critical safety valve for the quarterback. This is the type of decision that defines a general manager's tenure. Do you have the guts to make the unpopular cut for the greater good of the salary cap? Or do you stick with loyalty and leadership? The clock is ticking, and that $10 million is burning a hole in their pocket right now.
If you want to keep getting exclusive insights like this and stay ahead of every single roster move the Panthers make, you need to subscribe now. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Join our community and be the most informed fan in the room.
Moving on to a situation that is developing rapidly, and quite frankly, it was only a matter of time before this conversation started. An NFL insider has come forward suggesting that a current Panthers player would significantly benefit from a change of scenery. Now let's be very clear about who we are talking about here. The report explicitly states this is not about Xavier Legette, so put those fears to rest. We are looking at the other pieces of this receiving core, and all eyes are turning toward Jonathan Mingo. When you draft a player in the second round, you expect immediate impact, or at the very least, steady progression. What we have seen in Carolina has been stagnation. The insider report suggests that the fit within the specific offensive scheme is just not clicking. It happens in this league. A talented player lands in the wrong system, loses confidence, and suddenly looks like a bust. But put that same player in a different jersey with a different coordinator, and they flourish. The Panthers are in a position where they cannot afford to wait for potential to turn into production forever. This is where I get frustrated. We talk about patience, we talk about development, but this is the National Football League. You do not get 5 years to figure it out. If the tape shows that you are not separating, if the tape shows you are not winning your one-on-one matchups, then we have to look at moving on. A trade right now could bring back a late-round pick, maybe a conditional 6th or 7th rounder, but more importantly, it opens up a roster spot for someone who is hungry. It opens up a spot for a guy who fits what Dave Canales is trying to build. Keeping a player around simply because of where you drafted him is the sunk cost fallacy at its finest. It is bad business. If the chemistry isn't there, you have to cut the cord. The insider's suggestion of a change of scenery is code for this experiment has failed. And the Panthers need to be honest with themselves. Are they holding on to Mingo because they believe in him, or because they are afraid to admit a draft mistake? Great teams admit their mistakes fast and move on. Bad teams double down and waste years trying to fix something that is broken. This trade rumor is not just idle gossip. It is a signal that the evaluation process in Carolina is ruthless. Everyone is under the microscope. If you are not contributing to winning, you are an asset to be liquidated. It sounds harsh, but that is the reality of professional football. The Panthers are trying to build a winner, and sometimes that means saying goodbye to high draft picks who just didn't work out. Watch this space closely, because a trade could happen any day now.
Now we arrive at the story that has set the internet on fire and has every Panthers fan dreaming of the impossible. With the shocking news of Tyreek Hill being released by the Miami Dolphins, the immediate question becomes, should Carolina make the call? Let's look at the facts. Tyreek Hill is a game wrecker. He is the cheetah. He is the single most dynamic weapon in football over the last decade. The mere thought of adding his speed to this offense changes the geometry of the field instantly. Defenses have to respect the deep ball, safeties have to back up 20 yards, and suddenly the run game opens up, the intermediate routes open up, and life becomes infinitely easier for the quarterback. From a football perspective, it is a dream scenario. You pair a young quarterback with a weapon who can take a 5-yard slant and turn it into an 80-yard touchdown. That is how you accelerate development. That is how you ignite a fan base. But let's take a breath and look at the reality. We are talking about a massive financial commitment for a player who is on the wrong side of 30. We are talking about bringing a massive personality into a locker room that is trying to establish a new culture. Analysts are screaming for caution, and for once, I might agree with them. Does it make sense for a rebuilding team to spend $30 million a year on a wide receiver when the offensive line still needs depth and the defense needs pass rushers? Is Tyreek Hill the missing piece for a Super Bowl run right now? No, he is a luxury item, and the Panthers are still shopping for the essentials. However, the heart wants what it wants. The excitement, the jersey sales, the primetime games, Tyreek brings all of that. But you have to ask yourself, are you ready for the circus? Are you ready for the drama that comes with the superstar? This is the ultimate risk-reward calculation. If you sign him and he slows down, you have crippled your salary cap for 3 years. If you sign him and he is still the cheetah, you have the most exciting offense in the division. The analysts say, stay away, save the money, build through the draft. But since when has fortune favored the timid? This is a decision that requires guts. Do you swing for the fences and try to land the biggest fish in the pond, or do you stay safe and conservative? The link to Carolina is real because the need for a playmaker is real. But the cost, both financial and cultural, might be too high for a team that is just trying to find its footing. It is a tantalizing thought, but one that could backfire spectacularly if not handled with absolute precision.
So there you have it, a potential $10 million cap cut that strips away leadership, a trade rumor that signals the end of a draft experiment, and the tantalizing, dangerous possibility of bringing Tyreek Hill to Charlotte. These aren't just isolated stories. This is the blueprint of a team at a crossroads. Every decision Dan Morgan makes in the next week will ripple through this season and beyond. I need to know where you stand. Do you cut the veteran to save the cash? Do you trade the struggling playmaker? And do you dare to sign the cheetah? Let me know in the comments below, because I read every single one of them. This is our team, and this conversation is just getting started. I'm out.